Good morning, good morning. Well, it's afternoon actually. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I'm sure people are going to be catching up in a short while. We have a change of time today. So, good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Wednesday, the 28th day of June, 2023. Welcome. Um, my colleague is already in the studio, ready and waiting to go. Again, he had some issues with audio. We're hoping that will be sorted out. I know he continues to get these issues. The Jagawats and the amphibians are at work, but don't be deterred. We are going to be here to bring you the news. We are going to be here. We have committed to that. So we are going to be here. Now, let me first tell you right off that the reason for the change of timing, and I did send out notification, but obviously a lot of persons did not get it. I had court this morning at 11:30. That is one of the several matters I have. I have several criminal matters, trumped up charges. I also have two civil lawsuits. Well, this morning at 11:30 was one of the lawsuits involving Karim Bash, who sued me for defamation, claiming that I said certain defamatory things about him. So I had to be there in court for 11:30, but the judge, these judges are overworked. Yeah? So the judge had a sentencing matter going on and could not have met the 11:30 schedule. So we are now waiting for the new schedule for that matter. It might, the clerk, I think it was, indicated it might be later this afternoon or sometime next week. So we are waiting. So that is the reason why I had to reschedule. Once I learned of this court matter at 11:30 this morning, I realized that we could not have had the program starting at 11. So I rescheduled for 1 o'clock. And I sent out a notice. Yesterday I sent out a notice, but some people have not received the notice. And that is why I've said to you, you need to go to YouTube. Perhaps you can do so now. And subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button, which will be at the bottom right-hand corner. And you will get notifications whenever the program goes live or whenever a notification is sent out, you will get it. So I encourage you all to go to YouTube. Those of you who have not done so as yet, to go to YouTube and to subscribe to the channel. So that when we have these delays and reprogramming, you are going to be notified and you're going to be informed. So that is why we are only now starting 1 o'clock. I decided it is very important that we have this program, that we should not miss a day. You was thinking maybe some other day. Well, no. This is the day, Wednesday. And I decided, rather than waiting until perhaps the next week or some other day, today at 1 o'clock. So here we are. Share the live. Let people know that we're on. Because a lot of people would have come on at 11 o'clock and did not see the program and assume that there's no program today. So I would want to encourage you as we go through the housekeeping to make sure that you share the live. Let people know that we're on and we are going to start. We have a lot of things today again. We have a lot of things, as I said in the notification yesterday. We're going to deal with the crisis in the management of the police force. And we're going to continue to look at the rape allegation against Minister of Local Government and Durham, Nigel Durham Lal. We're going to continue to look at that because I understand there's a development today, which we'll discuss a little later. But share the live, and let me go. See, lots of persons who are in class in the schoolyard today, lots of people. So I'm waiting. I'm going a little bit preamble so that you can share the live and let people know that we are on today. Because as I've said, it's an unusual time, 1 p.m., but this was due to things beyond my control. I had to be in court, and therefore I could not have been here this morning. So share the live. And I said, subscribe to the channel. Those of you who have not done so as yet, you can go now to Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence on YouTube. Subscribe. You're going to get all the previous episodes there as well. So it's a very good resource. All the episodes, if you miss an episode, It's going to be there. And I want to compliment all our viewers who were tuned in last week. I mean, last week we broke all our records. We broke all records of persons in the schoolyard before class calling. And also for those who are live on the program, and for the subscription, for those who viewed the program on YouTube. We broke all our records, So yes, share the live. And I'm going to run through a roll call very quickly. Very quickly, we're going to do some roll call. You know, you have to always do housekeeping. Some people are not too comfortable, so you're wasting time with the roll call. But no, roll call is important. Once you come to class, you got to get roll call. And several persons came on, and I noted sometimes when you delay the first persons to come on, sometimes they drop off, because I remember seeing some people earlier, and now when I look at the roster, some of those early birds are no longer at the top. So we have the first person here. He was not actually first. Mandela, welcome. Then we had Raul Wayne from the UK was here. Winston came in. Wayne again. This is another Wayne. This is Wayne Jacobs from Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn in the house. Then my squad mate, Artman, 9414. Squaddy from Course 74. He was here. He's from Arizona. He's in Arizona. Then we had Tessa. Tessa don't miss out. Not a regular. We had Bonita was here at 909. And she from Paradise, West Coast Barbies. West Coast Barbies in the house. Shout out to West Coast Barbies. Then we had Winston from Ontario, California. Then we had Corbin. He said 15847 reported for duty. Then my squad mate, W349. Doreen, welcome, Doreen. Always good to see you on the live. Then you had Duan came in next. Evangelina came in at 9:38. Lynette, not a regular from the UK. She came on at 9:39. Princess Earl came on at 9:38. She's from Lamar Springs. I remember that well. Then we had Evangelina on. We had Stian come on at 9:42. Patricia, it was nice to see you and get to put a face to the name eventually. Welcome, Patricia. Welcome. She came in at 9:43. Sean, ex-sergeant, always here every day. Every day he don't miss class. He never misses a class. Felicia was here at 9:45. Sagi came on at what time Sagi came on? Sagi came at 9:45 as well. Sagi came on at 9:45. Patricia came on at 9:45. Brower came on at 9:47. Cecile came on at 9:47 as well. Maureen came on there at 9:50. Jacko from Georgia, he's here. Lucius is here. TK rather, this is TK, not TP. TK is here. Then we had Ben is here as well. Jean came on. Fort Valley is here. Francis Ann is here. John Shartman, John is here as well, all the way from Brooklyn. Pamela is here. Gordon in class from Ontario, Canada. Then we had Sheila. Sheila is another squad mate of mine, W351, on the program. Dennis, welcome, Dennis. Welcome. Dennis is on. Anthony is here. Then we had Family Music came on at 10:34. We had Earl came on at 10:36. Derek Teach, welcome, Teach. This one these days I can tag the BV story. Why? I can tag the story when you were stationed at BV. You know what I'm talking about. One of these good days, you better call me and talk to me properly. Or else I can talk about that story. Not now, but I'll give you enough chance to contact and negotiate. So welcome, Teach. Then you had Yulandaya is here. Oren is from UK. He's here. Monica came on. Terrence came on at 9795. Terrence, I sent you a message and I think you responded. Hope you fixed the issue. Evelyn came on. My cousin and countryman, Marvin, was here. Another countryman, George, was here at 1104. Then who we had? We had my squad mate, another squad mate, 9430. Lewis was here. Lyndon came on from Patterson, New Jersey at 11:09. Then we had Lyndon. He said his number was 13033 from course 140, was in class. Then who else? We had a lot of people. These are all people in the classroom. We had Pito, 8152. Pito was here again. Then who we have? We had Vibert from East Bank. Karen is here. Isabella was here. Queenie, not a West Coast Morris lady, she's there as well. Then we had Yonette coming in, Kaden, Etha, Rohan, Jawar, Sandra. Who else? Lots of people. Patrick, Joan, Gavin, Jakey, welcome, Jakey. Wayne, Floyd, Bart was here as well. Brian, Chilo is here as well. So welcome. Chris is here. Courtney, and so we have a lot of people in class, and I said we got to go into it. We have a lot to tell you about this afternoon. Now, the first thing I want to start with is my people like Ulrich and Jakey and those cricketers. West Indies, you see West Indies get licks. Netherlands beat the West Indies in the 50-over game. Imagine that, a crucial game. So we have them now in the sixth. They're gone across to the Super Six. But then they went over there with no points. All the other teams in that Super Six, no, except one, have points. So I guess they got to win every game from now on in order to qualify. Imagine that West Indies struggling to qualify among what we call the minnows, the lesser ones. They're struggling to qualify. That is the nature of what is going on. That is what is going on at this time. Now, let me bring in my colleague, Mr. Conway, for him to talk to us and hear what he has to say. CC, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Paul. Happy to be living.
Yes, some terrible starting there. All right.
In terms of the cricket, that we can be hoping against much.
Let us hope that your audio clears up because it's a little bad at this time.
Okay.
As you saw, personally, again, I should let you know that we have to give praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to see this new day. All praise and thanks are to the Almighty for allowing us to see this new day. Many persons have not been that fortunate. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Many persons were not that fortunate to be able to see the new day. And talking about those who are not that fortunate, before I go that, I have noted. Let me tell you about that first, and then we're gonna bring in Mr. Conway again. I noted that the president has announced that someone has been identified for the commission of inquiry into the Madhya fire. I saw yesterday in the news that retired Major General Joe Singh is the person identified. There are still several questions, and one of the questions I want to know if it's a lone commissioner to inquire into this fire, or if there are going to be other commissioners, and what is critical would be the terms of reference. Critical would be the terms of reference, because you can have all the inquiry you want to have. You can identify the most qualified and the most ethical persons, the people of high esteem. If the terms of reference are restricted, then you have a problem. They can only operate within the terms that are set out. I understand, based on the release, that the president said that they're working on the terms of reference. Well, we have to wait and see what the terms of reference will be, because that is what will inform the scope of the commission of inquiry. That is crucial. Any commission of inquiry. So don't be duped, or don't be fooled that someone has been identified, even if it's a person with the highest integrity. It would be the terms of reference. And let me say this, because I see some people making some comment and so on. I have a lot of respect for retired Major General Jusing. And I think based on conversations we have had in the past, that the respect is mutual. I have every respect for him. But as I say again, you have to look to see what the terms of reference are going to be. That is what is going to determine the scope of the inquiry. If the terms of reference are limited and restricted, then you can't go outside the scope. That is the key thing in a commission of inquiry. You cannot go beyond the scope that was provided you. So let's wait and see what that will be. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. And like you, I have the greatest confidence in the General retired Singh. And as you rightly mentioned, for the terms of reference is very critical. If you don't have proper terms of reference, you'll be back to square one. So let's wait and see whether the one-man show or whether other persons will be selected to be members of this committee.
Yeah, we still getting a little issue with your audio, but I hope it clears up. There's a little issue still with your audio, not as bad as before, but I hope that it clears up. Yeah, so let's wait and see what the terms of reference will be. Now, I want to tell you too, as we said, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. We have we have to be thankful to be in the land of the living. And several persons, the madness on the road continues. The madness on the road continues. While Mr. Conway is trying to fix his audio, let me show you a few slides to tell you what's going on the roads. I'm going to show you a couple of slides that we have here. This one, look at this one. Look at this one. Look at this. This is a truck supposed to be driving along the Linden Suzac Highway. Look what is going on here, people. Madness. Madness. I want you to look carefully to see what's going on. They were called chapters. They actually touched the vehicle here. That is what you have. You see for yourself the madness. Let me show you another. Let me show you another slide. Let me show another video with what's going on. Let me show you this one.
Favorite request 2258097, 2258098, into Guyana 718-285-8978. Favorite English.
That's a truck driving on someone on the roads. Imagine you are driving behind that vehicle. You are blinded. With those lights, big lights flashing there all the time in the rear. And that is unlawful. There's no law which says that should happen. But these are the things that should be looked at. And then I have another slide that I have to show, another video to show. I need to warn you before that this video is very disturbing. This is a fatal accident that occurred on Monday morning on the one of the roads across the river. Let me show you this one too. The story behind that last one, you see the woman's truck, you can hear the brakes lock up and all that. The woman's truck, 52-year-old one, I think it's Lagrange, West Bank, Demerara. The vehicle, that vehicle you saw there that struck her, the report is that that vehicle was proceeding in a northerly direction and overtook some other vehicle. And the woman apparently was crossing the road, struck and killed. So that is what we have. And let me show you this one too. Let me show you another accident yesterday with, where did this occur? Another accident somewhere on the Essequibo coast. And you have, look the car. Look the car after the accident, the car burnt up. Some 19-year-old died in that accident. A 19-year-old died in that accident. And it has been reported today that sometime yesterday, let me read what the report is saying. You have 2 died in upper quarantine accident. Well, that is not this morning. We had even before that, some 2 persons died in upper quarantine accident. Then last night, Monday night or sometime last night, is reported today that 2 died in a quarantine accident, again, a 24-year-old and a 64-year-old. The 24-year-old, someone that was driving a car, and one was on an electric bike and struck and killed. So that's why you have a lot of madness on the road, and the people we have there, as I've said, the man who sits in the chair, what he did is to tell them to line the road to prevent speeding, and no sensible plan to deal with this craziness that is going on. Let me bring in Mr. And I want to take this opportunity to express condolences to the relatives, friends, and associates of all those persons who have died over the week. So this is over the last week. Last week we spoke about many fatal accidents and deaths. Now we have, as I was saying here, we had one on the Essequibo coast where the speeding driver, the car I just showed you. You have 2 on the upper quarantine. Then you had the lady there at Lagrange, and then sometime yesterday or this morning early, 2 at Hampshire on the quarantine. So that is what you have, madness, and no one is telling us. You're in here from the Minister of Home Affairs, you're in here from the man who sits in the chair, what plans they are putting in place to address this thing. We continue to lose our precious resources through inconsiderate use. And when you look at many of these accidents, people just driving fast, losing control, crashing into culvert, crashing into utility poles, crashing into parked vehicles. Something is wrong. Something is definitely wrong. And the authorities, as far as I'm aware, are not doing anything to address this issue. Mr. Conway.
That's true, Paul. They're not addressing this thing functionally, professionally, or holistically. I want to say that there's no real effort to reduce the lawlessness that's going on in the road. I think they're making some effort to analyze the stats. Somewhere I read, I wasn't been able to go into details, where they were saying that the West Demerara roadway is the deadliest roadway in the country. And they are also saying that that 80-something% of the fatal accidents occur after 6 o'clock in the evening. They need to go more into details. Is it between 6 to 10? Is it between 10 to 2? Go into final details. They have to analyze the stats. And based on the analysis of the stats, they can use their human and other resources to deal with it, to deal with the reality. But they're not analyzing stats. And apart from that, they're not dealing with corruption. How the drivers getting their license. Corruption is rampant in terms of drivers' license. So they need to look at that. So that many persons on the road where drivers are not supposed to be driving vehicles, but they get their license by corrupt means. So they need to frontally, professionally, and holistically deal with this situation. They're looking at the fruits when they should look at the root causes of accidents. And unless they do that, the madness will continue our roadway on.
Yes, I agree with you, CC. I agree. And of course, you know, the police corporate communication unit always they don't cease to amaze. The issue, a statement, and let me read what it is reported that they said. As a result of the collision, there's the one on the Hampshire last night or yesterday morning, whenever it was. As a result of the collision, the police say that the rider of the electric bike was pitched onto the southern parapet and then into the drain, where he suffered injuries about his body. So they're telling you that he suffers injuries in his body in the drain that he was pitched. So basically they're saying that the vehicle that struck him did not cause any injury. Here again, let me read what they're saying. This is what they're saying, you know. They say, as a result of the collision, the police say that the rider of the electric bike was pitched onto the southern parapet and then into a drain where he suffered injuries about his body. So he's in a drain, he suffered injuries about his body. A nonsense report. My English teacher would have chased them out of the class. SCC?
That's true. A whole set of, my son would say, a whole set of nonsensical nonsense there.
Nonsensical. Some people, that's what we have. I continue to implore you to use the roads carefully, because as we have seen, accident is almost it's a weekly occurrence in Guyana, multiple deaths every week in Guyana. So you have got to take care of yourself. And I would wish and hope that the police, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the government will let us know what are their plans to deal with all of these issues. And we have said before, it has to be dealt with in a very comprehensive way. This piecemeal thing, amend this legislation here and deal with this here. You got to deal also with the elephant in the room, which is the 6th C of corruption. Because as we rightly say, many persons who are driving, who have license on the road, are not qualified to drive. And that is a fact. The statistics will bear that out. All the corrupt processes, even them, persons charged and put before the court in who are involved in this corrupt process. So something needs to be done. Let me move on. And I want to congratulate you for the letter that I saw you wrote about the police and the High Command. And as I indicated earlier, we have listed the crisis in management. and the police force. And let you lead off. I let you tell the viewers what you wrote and what caused you to write that, and what are your views about this crisis in the top management. Your turn to back.
There is a crisis, as you rightly mentioned, Paul. We had recently where one commander was in charge of 3 divisions, Commander Region 5 in charge of Region 5, in charge of Region 6, and in charge of 4B. So they're not exposing the other commanders. There's no job rotation. There's no job enlargement. There's no job enrichment. And when I talk about enrichment, I mean talking about financially in terms of the situation with the job. Now, I had a call to people board certificate, and I saw one for hitting, which indicated that on the 22nd of July, that's next month, hitting would be 55. And according to the Public Service Commission rule, by the 4th of August, hitting should retire from the Guyana Police Force. Unless he's extended, or unless, as happened before, another board certificate with different characteristics emerge. But the thing is, the appointment of a commissioner is that of the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. The Constitution 211 states that he has to consult with the leader of the opposition and chairman of the Police Service Commission, who would have by then consulted with other members before the appointment of a commissioner or deputy commissioner. Now, the thing is that there is no police, there are no legally constituted police service commission. The Chief Justice ruled that in the thing sometime last year, August. So I want to believe that the president might unconstitutionally shelter under the pretext that he can make the appointments under the doctrine of necessity, which would be wrong. But the Commissioner of Police, the appointment of Commissioner of Police is critical, is constitutional, and is a serious business. And we can't mess around with appointing a Commissioner of Police. We must have the best. And when we look at it, Paul, I just want to mention some names here. The most qualified academically and professional person in the Guyana Police Force is Dr. Paul Williams. I repeat, Dr. Paul Williams, most qualified professionally, academically. Just to make some appointments that he had, he was a policing officer, he was commander of various division, he was the Grand Chief, until they banished him to COVID-19. And after COVID-19, he's now at the Civil Defense Commission, counting the amount of rainfall we have in Guyana and looking at floods. For some strange reason, he's in the government's black book. Therefore, he will not be appointed. Next in line is Andres Jr., Assistant Commissioner of Police. He's on a bogus trump-up charge before the court, therefore they will not promote him. Then we have Assistant Commissioner Simon McBean. McBean went to England. He got a degree in policing and global security. And when he returned to Guyana, the then politically controlled Police Service Commission, on the directions of the politicians, dismissed him. He appealed, he won his case, returned to the work, and he's still sidelined. He's in charge of the largest division in this country and doing an excellent job, but he's sidelined. And then we have some who we call some pretenders for the throne. There are a number of them. I will not, for diverse reasons, I will not call their name, but I give you a little card to sketch them. One His name has been called. There are allegations that he has been involved in a series of financial irregularities involving millions of dollars. His interpersonal relationships with his senior, his peers, his subordinates, and members of the public is very, very poor. And he has been saying all the time that he doesn't look at process, he looks at results. He's interested in results and not process. There's another one who the United States Embassy in Guyana, they are very much concerned about the association, his conduct with numerous members of the business community who are correct. Word coming out of that area is that if they make him a commissioner, his visa will be revoked. Remember when Henry Greenspan commissioner, his visa was also revoked. And also, there's one also who has been taking political directives from the politician, left, right, and center. They're giving directions and work on them. Saying the politicians, they are okay, they are right, and saying the appointment of a commissioner is political, he will be the next commissioner. And there's also another one who has been gathering intelligence about his competitors and passing it on to the movers and shakers of the Ghana police force, hoping that he will be the next commissioner. And there's another one who is favored by a house in Rock Street because of his ethnicity. And let me just backtrack a bit in terms of extension of policemen. If the president could extend a commissioner, he could extend a commissioner, but all the commissioners that were extended end up in serious problems during their extension. It started with Baron Ragobir. He was extended, he had serious tax and other challenges to deal with, and then there's no night, the school teacher sent him away to India as the Ghana High Commissioner to India. We had our good friend Larry Leland Lewis, extended for 5 years, very controversial, but for me a very good commissioner. He in his service had to come to an end because the PNC took him to court and we had to come out. We had also Henry Green as commissioner during this period of extension. He had to run to the court to defend himself and to get the DPP not to recommend charge or rape against him. And your friend Paul, Floyd McDonald, when he became commissioner, he got the gold medal for being the deadliest commissioner. 26 policemen died or were murdered during his term of commissioner. Instead of paying awards to his policemen, he had to be rushing and paying tributes at the funeral. And also, Leroy Grammel, when he was extended, a senior police officer took a file to President Ramadan and said, hey, Grammel, approve this man of firearm license when he had no just cause to do that. And the president cut short from a period of extension. So the thing is that all those commissioners in our time who were extended had serious issues during their period of extension. So the thing is, Paul, is that we need to ensure that we have the right person at the apex of management in the police force. And for me, topping the list is no other than Dr. Paul Williams, followed by Simon Magnuson. But the information at the ground level there is that someone who is politically controlled will be the next commissioner. And woe be unto the police force, woe be unto Ghana if this is done. I'm hoping and praying that the Lord will guide the president so that we can make the right choice, so that we can have a really, really good commissioner of police.
Well said, CC. Well said. Let me add my two bit to that, because as you rightly pointed out, there have been extensions in the past. You mentioned them. The issue is, my concern, and I think the concern of many is, if the man who now sits in the chair, according to the public service rules, is due to be a civilian on the 1st of August 2023. So it's just over a month the man has. One would have thought that by now, that some announcement, there would have been some announcement if the president is inclined to support him and decided that he's going to extend him, let the people know. The police and everybody should know, so that there can be some amount of stability. But to have a commissioner, or the man who sits in the chair, for me, he's not a commissioner, just about a month away from retirement, and nothing is known. There's so much uncertainty, nothing is known as to whether he's going to remain or not. Now, I want to also say that in the case of Larry Lewis, he was extended, and you said it's not the PNC who took him to court. This was a member, Debbie Backup. The lawyer, the attorney, did the research and found out that there's no provision for a commission, for a commission to be extended beyond 60. So he was extended for us, I think, for 2 or 3 years, and then he was extended again to take him to 60. And the word on the ground was that when he got to 60 years of age, they were trying to extend him further. And Debbie indicated that that was not permitted, and I think they get good sense. I think it would have been President Jack Dio then, and they appointed Mr. McDonald as commissioner. That too was controversial. That too, he was appointed, and then he was kept on beyond 55. And people who know said, well, look, while it is that you could extend a commissioner beyond the age of 55, you can't appoint a commissioner after he has passed 55. So that was an issue with Mr. McDonald. And, well, you know, the old story come now, Henry Green. Henry Green had to run to the, he ran to the court. And that is unprecedented, you know, in the legal annals of Guyana. He went to the court to prevent the DPP from advising that a criminal charge of rape should be instituted against him. And the Chief Justice Act at the time, Ian Chan, ruled in his favor, so therefore no charge was brought against him. So that is what we have. And the problem comes about because it is evident that there is no proper succession planning. No proper. You mentioned the officer commanding 3 divisions. My understanding is that one of the divisions that he had to command, the commander was on a course for 4 days, for 4 or 5 days. And the administration did not feel that it's 2IC, the man who was second in command, was competent enough to carry on for 4 days or 3 days or whatever short period of time it was. And I'm saying this, that if a person is put as a second in command of any department or division and is not trusted to carry out the functions of the commander for 3 or 4 days, he should not be there in the first place. He should not be in that position in the first place. So that is what you have. The man is you have people in positions, and his worry is no proper planning. And we talked about it earlier in the case of this boy at Linden, when he was to come off. The man came off the job, and nobody has been sent to replace him. Winter, Senior Superintendent Winter. So even when he had officially retired, there was no replacement. And then they hurriedly sent a commander to replace him. And within a week of that commander replacing him, that same commander, the new commander, had to move again to go to a new division. It clearly shows that these people are incompetent and lacks the ability to run a complex organization like the Guyana Police Force. That is the thing. They don't know. They don't know. They don't reach out to be guided. And all they're taking is political directions and instructions. That's all they are interested in. Politicians tell them do this, and they jump and they do it. without any regards for the legality or anything like that. That is a problem that we have. And they could jump higher, could jump low. I'm going to continue to speak about it because it's in the interest of Guyanese, members of the force and all Guyanese, to make sure that you have a force, especially the leaders of the force, that are competent and capable of carrying out the mandate of the force, which primarily is to serve and to protect. The law says it, 1601, prevention and detection of crime. That is the primary function of the police force, not to get dance competition and cook-up rice competition and jumping all over the place. You must focus on your core issues, the prevention and detection of crime. Again, I say the prevention and detection of crime, that is in the law of Guyana, chapter 1601, and the successful prosecution of all offenders. And in all of those areas, they are failing. All of those areas they are failing. And my view is that the failure is as a result of incompetent people being put in these positions. The government like to get people who are incompetent, you put them there, so therefore you can get them to do all kind of craziness that you want them to do. CC, anything more on that?
Yeah. So if you can't have any succession planning, Paul, unless you have career development. There's no career development. They're not being trained. They're not get job rotation, job enlargement, job enlistment. The last senior officer course that was conducted by me, the thing was it, and that's over 10 years ago. The last junior officer course that was conducted by me. Since then, none. And that was conducted with the University of Guyana. Joint training. So no career development. They're not finding no real sustained training programs for them at overseas to go to the UK, to go to Royal Canadian Mounted Police, to go to the FBI. You're talking about long programs. Me talking about little 2-3 weeks kind of program, little 4 days program. There must be sustained program. Career development is important. Career development is critical. So they don't have career development, therefore they can't get succession plan. Jumping left, right, and center, like you mentioned, what happened at Linden. A civilian was in charge of Linden. A civilian. Perhaps that is their brand of civilization of the police force. You know, across the world, they're talking about civilization of the police force. And here we had it, a civilian in charge of a critical division like region number 10. So, two things, career development and succession planning are critical for the Guyana Police Force, Paul.
I do agree with you. I do fully agree that you have to have that. You have to have, and let's hope, but we know they listen. We hope that they listen, and therefore they need to make sure, well, I don't have much, I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not going to hold my breath because it is evident that perhaps they are comfortable with the incompetent people because then they get to have their way. They get to have their way, and I suspect that they are worried that if you were to put people who are too competent in a position, then they're not going to get their way, and things are not going to go the way in which they want it to go. That is to allow for friends, family, and favorite to be treated differently from the average person and the thing. So again, I call on the president to let people know what will be the position with the position of Commissioner of Police when in just about a month's time, because the man who sits in the chair who was appointed there is due to retire according to the public service rules on the 1st of August 2023. As CC, as you indicated, he was born according to the records. According to the one, what they have as the official, people say, well, they get different records. On the 22nd of July 1968, which makes him 55 on the 22nd of July 2023. And the public service rule states that once you board day, your 55th board day is whatever day in the month, the first day on the next and the new month, you are out as a civilian. The first day in the new month, you are out. So let me see what they will do with that. Now, this is a good thing to me to segue straight into this, not a major issue, the rape allegation against Minister Nigel Dharamlal. I noted this morning, just before I came onto the live, that there's a release saying that the DPP has sent the file back to the police for further investigations. But I tell you, I'm crystal ball working, you know. Somebody reminded me this morning, I said the same thing. A lot of dancing will take place. A lot of dancing will take place. I am not surprised that the DPP will send the file back for further investigation. And let me say this to you people. Let me say this. You do not have to complete an investigation to institute a charge. Let me repeat that. You do not have to complete an investigation to institute a charge. And I'm going to give you examples. Many persons have been charged. Once the file is put together and you satisfy yourself that there is a prima facie case, you're charged. For example, they charged the young indigenous female for 19 counts of murder. This fire, remember, occurred on the Sunday. The file was with the DPP by the Wednesday, and the child was before the court the Monday. Just over a week, all that was done. And we saw that after being charged, the investigation was continuing, where they sent for someone, they got assistance from some expert from the US to come and to assist them to continue with the investigation. And that is very recent. That is very recent. So there's nothing wrong. And I am saying this, that based on the evidence that is in the public domain, based on that statement alone from the victim, the statement alone from the victim, I am saying that that is sufficient for a charge to be instituted and for you to continue your investigation. That is sufficient. You have prima facie evidence there. And I said here, you know, the file sent to the DPP, and then the DPP issue a statement. And let me show you the statement that the DPP issued. I think I have it here lined up. The statement that the DPP, look what they, look the DPP statement, folks. That is what a statement was released, I think, yesterday or the day before. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has observed that members of the opposition political parties have mounted protests in front of its office. The DPP's office will not be intimidated by those individuals who profess to want justice in a criminal matter, even while a police file is being given due legal attention. Go on to say the police file in question is only one of thousands of police files which the DPP's office received from the stations in all 10 administrative regions of Guyana for legal attention. Files for persons in custody are given priority. Then they go on to say, we strongly urge the general public to desist from politicizing an alleged criminal offense. It is indeed one of national interest, and therefore all statements, evidence must be considered before legal advice is given to the Ghanaian people. Rubbish. Rubbish. All statements have to be considered before legal advice is given. That is rubbish. That is unadulterated balderdash. You don't have to get all the statements before you can give direction. Once you have statements that prove that there is a prima facie case, you can proceed and charge, and the investigation can continue. You can charge, you can give directions for charge to be filed, and the investigations can continue. As Mr. Selwyn Peters Elia last week said on one of the program, investigations continue up and until people are before the court, and even when people are before the court, investigations continue in some of these matters. So the statement from the DPP is just saying about politicizing matter and all of that. I will talk something more about politicizing matter a little later. But Cece, let me hear your views on that statement issued by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
I listened and I heard the statement, Paul. And the position is she made a wild opening statement. Is she saying that it's only members of the opposition are protesting? Other members of civil society are protesting also? not only members of the opposition. And here what the DPP saying? Thousands of cases. Thousands of cases. Then if you're really a crime intensive country, thousands of cases there. And if you have thousands of cases, don't you have priority? You don't prioritize which one is, that you will deal with first. For me, this case has moved from being criminal to political in the eyes of the DPP. They are the way wrong. Huh? Every case are crying out for justice, and the DPP is just, or I would say, malingering in dealing with it. Persons that are right to protest. And don't tell me that it's only opposition people protesting. And don't tell me that you get thousands and thousands of cases and you can't deal with it if you want it. Something is wrong with the system. And as you rightly said, Paul, that you can charge. Because for me, the elements of rape, based on what I've read, is already there. It is already in the statement there. Enough that you can have a paper committal before sending it before sending it to the jury. And as I mentioned last week, and I'm going to repeat again, or let me make the point first. First thing, according to this act here, Sexual Offences Act 2010, it says, we're looking at interpretation. I said child means a person under 18 years of age. Let me repeat. Child means a person under 18 years of age. And they do talking about nonsense, whether she was raped at 15 or whether she was raped at 16. For me, the allegation of rape is a very strong one. And then when we look at penetration, Paul, it says penetration means an intrusion, however slight, and of how short of time, or any part of a person's body, or any object into the vagina or anus of another person, to any contact, however slight, and for however short time between the mouth of one person and the genitals or anus of another person, including but not limited to sexual occurrences. And it went on to say female to female genital contact, and the presentation is by the penetration is by the penis. The emission of seminal fluid is not necessary proof of penetration. Penetration is a continuation act from entry to withdrawal. Let me try to make it very simple. It's saying the slightest degree of penetration. And rape has two major elements. Lack of consent. The woman didn't consent, or the person didn't consent. A woman can go in the hotel with you, strip off all her clothes, she's naked, and then she decided, for reasons unknown, only known to her, I am not having any sex. And as long as you penetrate, don't mind how slight this thing is, whether you use your fingers, whether you use a dildo, whether you use any instrument, it is rape. As long as the woman said no, she must agree. And she can go in your house, she can go in your bedroom. Later on, you might paint up the room as case may be. And she said no, and you penetrate. The slightest degree of penetration is enough. And the period, or however short it is, that is enough. And all those things, when I read the statement of the victim, all those things are there. And for me, it is cold-blooded rape, nothing but rape. So you don't have to send back and ask anything. Charge for rape, and then let you have a paper committal, and it goes before the judge. And many times, I observe the DPP sending files to the oh, let him have to deal with it. Let the judge or jury deal with it, although that is not the correct thing to be done, that it must be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. But for me, the ingredients, penetration, and lack of consent, whether it is vaginal or whether it is anus, as what I've seen or read in that statement, I think that is there, and you don't have to have corroboration for that. It is there, and if the person should be in charge, and if you want to do further investigation to clear up other little minorities, so be it. But I'm not disappointed with the actions of the DPP. And I said, and I'm going to say it over and over again until I prove otherwise, that the DPP is politically inclined, or the DPP appears to be manipulated by politicians.
Yeah, well said, well said. So you made the point. As somebody say, rape is rape. Once the person, not only the female, the male, because you have male rape too, say no, no is no. No is no. And when the DPP talking about statements and all of that, I can relate to my experience, my personal experience. The DPP directed that 3 charges of sexual assault be instituted against me. It wasn't rape, nothing to do, no allegation of rape. I can't go into all the details now because the matters are still pending. But a policewoman said I touched during the course of a meeting on 3 separate occasions, on 3 separate days, I touched her leg in an appropriate manner. One statement from that policewoman, and I was charged with sexual assault. One statement. So what the DPP, and the statement was not as compelling as this statement that this young lady gave. So what is the DPP talking about? When she talk about additional statement and she waiting for all statements, that is rubbish. That is rubbish. They're just trying to dance and to find a way out so that at the end of the day, she's going to say that no crime has been established and therefore she's not going to recommend the charge. I am saying that the function, check the Constitution, once there's prima facie evidence, the DPP should recommend that the person should be charged, as she has been doing in a lot of cases, and let the magistrate or let the judge and the jury, in this case, decide whether the person is guilty or innocent. But I as I've said, I am not surprised. Them boys asked me of the crystal ball. I saw this coming. I saw this delay tactics coming. But you know, you could delay and you could delay, be waiting for the final word. Because as we have seen, efforts were made very early to get this matter derailed, where when the commander of Region 2, Comrade Sheikh Baran, took a statement from the young lady claiming that she recanted the story. He took a statement from her. And going forward, the next question that is asked here about statutory rape. Now, it cannot be statutory rape because she was over 16 years old. You know, I need to check the statement that Shibran took from her when he said that she's recanting. They try to establish or try to remove or to eliminate statutory rape. So the statement started out by saying that she was born on the 16th of September 2006, I think it was. So it meant, and this offense is alleged to have committed on the 23rd of December 2022. So she was just past her 16th birthday. She would have celebrated her 16th birthday on the 16th of September. So on the 23rd of September of December, when this incident is left of occurred, she was over this the age limit. And in Guyana, the statutory rape clause deals with women or persons below 16. But rape is rape, whether you're 16 or whether you're 99, whatever age you're at, it's rape. So I see you asking anything, but that is what they try to do. That is why they try to do, to say, well, all right, you can't bring statutory rape because she's over 16. So that is why you see the very first line, I think it was, the very first line brought that out, that she was born on the 16th of September 2006. So that is what they were trying to do, to say, well, all right, it's not statutory rape, right? So this is where the dancing come in. Because if they had established that she was below 16, then consent and all of these things wouldn't have come into question, because she's below 16 and it's a presumption of law that a female under 16 you can't give consent sex. So they also put in that she's over 16. But she said that she was raped. She said that she was raped. She described it in its most gruesome details. And as I've said before, that is one of the best statements I have seen from any victim, either sex offense victim or any other victim. Detailed statement. And I've said before too that they attempted to tamper with evidence and all of that. Why am I saying that? We would have read some time ago that the victim was taken back to the locus. That is the place where this incident is alleged to have occurred. That is the residence of the minister. And according to what was said, there was evidence that furniture and that type of thing were moved around. Also, they said a suspect from what is smelling fresh paint. I am saying this, that the only way that could have happened is because the investigators would have taken a statement from the victim in which she would have described the color of the room, you would have asked all the type of thing, routine, color of the room, location of furniture, and all of those movable stuff. She would have described that. Somebody in the investigation party, some one or more persons, had to have communicated that to Dharamlal or someone else, so that he tried to move things around in an attempt to discredit the young lady. So in other words, when they go there now to visit, she said the room was a blue room, and then now the room has been painted over into white. So they're going to try to use that to bring our credibility into question. She said they had a TV downstairs. For all you know, they get to the TV. So they go in there, no TV. Again, an attempt to discredit the victim in this matter. And that is what has been going on. And so again, I say the delay by the DPP in recommending charges is all part of this pattern of delay. It's all pattern of this delay process. But you know, there is a God. And a lot of people run around, they preach, they hold the Bible, they hold the Gita, they hold the Quran, and they tell all kind of lies, they do all kind of things to people. Retribution day is coming. They say karma is a bitch. Retribution day is coming. And for those of you who don't know, let me tell you before I forget, only this morning, read Kaichor News. Read Kaichor News. There's a story there where another woman who was 20 years old at the time is saying that a government official raped her at the Anna Regina State House. She's saying that. And I saw the statement with the name of the government official. The paper did not mention it, so I'm not going to mention it. But it might not surprise you to know who the person is or who is alleged to have done that. And again, another statement, a long statement, multiple pages describing what happened. Invite for a job, invite the person for a job, and then when the person got there, Olan took her into a room, tried to rape her, tried to, again, anal sex. I don't know what it is with them, with this anal sex thing, as we would call it, with this bugger thing. These people are sick people. These people are sick people to be indulging in that type of thing. And you know, let me say this too. This protective custody thing that she's in, protective custody. They say that she's in protective custody of the child care agency. The word out is that the mother requested an attorney to be there. Kemraj Ramjatan, attorney at law, said that he went there to this place when this girl was to give a statement, and the Child Care Protection Agency told them that that is not within their standard operation procedure. So he can't be there, right? He cannot be there to witness this statement. Because he said he ain't gonna interfere all he wants to witness the statement. He was not allowed to do that. And then they issued a statement. They claim that the victim was denied independent legal representation. Here's what the Child Care Agency said. The Child Care Protective Agency statement said, and I quote in here, that a forensic interview report has been submitted to the Guyana Police Force, which has the responsibility to submit the report to the Director of Public Prosecutions. The agency said it will be legally represented by the Solicitor General of Guyana, while the DPP office will provide representation for the child in the matter. They go on to say, at no time was the child denied private legal representation. That's what I emphasize. Again, so they say that Cameron Ramsden lie. I think some other lawyer went there as well. And they were denied to be there. That's what legal representation is about. And then they go on to say that the Solicitor General will represent the Child Care Protection Agency. Yeah, because it's an agency of the state. But don't get me fooled. There's a Attorney General's chamber. That is the Attorney's General chamber. And as people would say, like, you can fight the devil's case in hell. And then they made a statement here, which I find very strange, that the DPP, the DPP office will, let me read exactly what it said. While the DPP office will provide representation for the child in this matter. What rubbish is this, the DPP office providing representation? The DPP office is a prosecutorial arm of the state. They just prosecute matters. They aren't providing representation in matters like this. They do not provide. If a charge is laid, they have to prosecute the charge, either through the police or through somebody who is given the fiat by the DPP. But where that the DPP's office will provide representation in the matter is again rubbish, right? Rubbish. I mean, bring in Mr. Conway for him to have his say on that. See, since when the DPP office providing representation in matters? Representation, they say.
Well, maybe because they're treating it as political, the DPP for representation, and DPP is for prosecution, full stop, prosecution, full stop. But let me talk about some other things, the delay of the DPP, perhaps the DPP looking for evidence, maybe visual evidence of the actual rape, visual evidence of seeing the blowjob, as the girl indicated, visual evidence of seeing the buggery. Maybe that's what the DPP are looking for. And getting back to Shiveran, the commander, now he took the statement from the girl, 3 hours, 35 minutes in his office under the Citizen Security Program, countrywide, including the Executable Division. We had domestic violence rooms. Domestic violence room provided for those interviews to be conducted. Perhaps it was an interview. Perhaps it was an interrogation. Perhaps there were threats of violence. As we went, because Tim, you say, I use no threats or violence on him, nor promising no reward, favor, or hope or advantage. Perhaps all those things were present. 3 hours, 35 minutes to take a 6-line statement from a girl. What really went on there? It leads one to think of what really happened there. And the whole thing, they're making a mockery of this investigation, Paul. The DPP just, to use a broad term, just screwing up in terms of what they are to do. It's a clear case of rape based on what is written there. Consent absent and penetration present. That's what she said. She didn't agree. Although she went home with him, she did not agree. And even coming back to visiting the scene, here's it. You have the man you can't say the lockups. You have the man in custody in brackets. In custody at Breakdown Police Station like tonight. And tomorrow, you go and sort his place tomorrow morning and you send him on bail. You send him on bail and you go and start the place the next day. Or you're sending him to go in there, do what you got to do to cover up. And then you're saying $1 million bonus. Let them, as you mentioned last week, let them show you the GR where $1 million cash was lodged. Check the books.
the CCBS collectors cash book statement, see where it was recorded, and that book is recording the daily activities. Let them check the bail book to see if that was recorded. Who bail him, you know? The whole thing is that you have a man there, you want him, you're investigating him, you're going to sort it out tomorrow morning, and the same night you send him, you're sending him on bail, and then you're trying to hoodwink the members of the public $1 million when no cash in lunch, no money in lunch. And if money in lunch, show us it. If money was lunch, show us the document, show us the receipt. Let us examine the cash CCBS. Let us examine the bail book and the documents. You know, this is a simple, straightforward thing. I mean, it will be taking years. You have to do quite a lot of investigation. That's why I was alarmed with the breakneck speed in which the file was sent to the DPP. You mentioned Paul with the fire at the dormitory within a couple of days without even getting the cause of death for the girls that died there, the charge with murder. And murder is look for cause of death, you know. But they say they rush at breakneck speed. And DPP had sent back. I don't know for why investigation it's not clear. What I'm saying, and I'm repeating myself, and my tongue monotonous, that the major element is lack of consent and penetration. And she's saying that she didn't give any consent, and they had penetration in her vagina and her anus. And let me repeat what the Act says about the interpretation. Child means a person under 18 years of age. So let us jump out of the place. Let us run about the place here.
Yeah, let us jump. You said it right, you know. Maybe the DPP waiting for some video to show the actual sex act, to satisfy ourselves that something occurred. And again, you know, police are talking. You get direct evidence, you get circumstantial evidence. You have the direct evidence of our statement and perhaps the statement of our brother that this thing, I don't know what other direct evidence you get. But on the basis of our statement alone, you can move the charge. And then you follow up because there's so much other things that you can get. I want to ask, I know ministers of government have security guards. Did they check to see if he had a security guard at the time or what the guard said? I don't know. But all of those things will be circumstantial and not necessarily required at the start. This incident is alleged to have occurred on the 23rd of December. About the girl said about 2-something the afternoon. Office hours then. So at the time when the minister was supposed to be in office, it is alleged that he there raping a little girl. Did anyone check his office to see or to get to support the contention that he wasn't in office at the time? Did they check with his secretary that to say, well, he had left the office, he was not in office? All those are things because, you know, let me say this. Let me say this from the policing experience. Statements should be taken from all those persons. His secretary, all the staff there, statements should be taken from them. Whether they know of the incident or not, statement should be taken from them. And this is what we call in policing talk, negative statement. Police are known about now. Police are known but negative statement. So for example, when you question the secretary, and she said, well, she had no, and she can't remember, put that down in writing. Put that in writing. So at a later stage, she can't come and say, well, yeah, he was in office at the time. Put it down. Was he there? Negative statements are very, very critical in matters like these. And let me repeat that for the investigators and for all those people who come here to learn. You don't have to always have a statement that we say is a positive statement. Yes, I saw this and I saw that. You can also take what we call a negative statement to say, I did not see. So when you take a statement to say, I did not see, and later on you come in to say, well, yes, I now remember that I saw, you're going to be confronted with these two statements. And therefore your credibility is going to be brought into question. So I hope that the investigators are taking statements. The DPP says she waiting for statements. I would expect that the statements will include negative statements. I will expect that those statements will include negative statements, right? The next thing, talk about investigation of this nature. Did they ever seize the phones of the minister? Did they ever seize the minister's phone as part of this investigation? Did they? I doubt whether, yeah, you might have subpoenaed the records from the telephone company, but that would not give you all the screenshots and all of those videos and all this that was it. You have to seize those instruments to have them forensically examined. Just as how you ask the U.S. government to give assistance with the fire, where export come, you can ask them to give assistance if you had seized the phone. Even though you get the phone, they have things to go into that phone, and even things that you thought you delete are going to still be there. So if they're really interested in doing a proper investigation, which I doubt, all of those things would have been done. All of those things would have been done. And let me go on before I bring back CC in respect to the same thing. The police issued a statement, and the police statement from the police, I like quote them, The Guyana Police Force can confirm that all standard operation procedures were followed in the conduct of this investigation. At no time whatsoever were any of the minors involved in this investigation questioned in the absence of a parent or a welfare officer. And I said, that's end the code. That is a stupid and laughable statement, right? So I want to know, as I said, they follow all the standard operational procedure. Mr. Conway identified the girl interviewed in the commander's office. Is that standard operational procedure for to have been interviewed, even to recant in the commander's office? Was the commander, is it standard operation procedure for the commander of a police division to be taking a statement to recant an allegation? Is that standard operational procedure? Those who gave the release should answer to that. And I'm saying no, it is not standard operational procedure. So don't come and tell us about standard operational procedure unless you change it over the past 2 weeks to suit this case. That is not the standard operational procedure. One, as Mr. Conway pointed out, for this young lady to have been interviewed by the commander in the commander's office. That is what he said. The address is there in the statement that he took. And for him, a male senior officer, to say that he taken this statement where the woman, the girl is recanting, that is not standard operational procedure. And then the time again, 3 hours and almost time to take a 50-line statement. What was she doing there all the time? You can't tell me, even though we say that you may be an incompetent nincompoop, even if we said so, we won't expect 3 hours to take a 50-line statement? No way. No way. Even as incompetent as the commander appears to be, you can't take 3 hours and 15 minutes or whatever time to take a statement. So the question is, what was happening in all the time? What is it that you're trying to coerce her, to convince her that she should make the statement? What occurred in that office during these 3 hours and 40 or 30 minutes outside of this statement that they claim to have taken? And I want to know too, I asked the question before, and I asked him again, how did this young lady reach at the commander's office? Did she go there of her own free will and volition? Did her parents take her there? Did the police summon her to get there? All of these things have to be asked and answered. And as the DPP is waiting for statements on this matter, more statements, I hope that they are addressing the perversion of the course of justice, because it is alleged that the minister paid $10 million to drop the matter. And we have seen that the police commander took a statement to recant when afterward he goes, I stick into the original story. This thing where you are telling me about to recant, that is not true. I am sticking to the original story. Kudos to this young lady. I got to always shout out, kudos to the young lady for standing up strongly and bravely to all of the pressures that you would have been put under. So Guyana Police Force, again, don't come and tell people about standard operational procedure. This whole thing is being done not in keeping with the standard operational procedure how rape allegations should be treated. Dharamlal is being given preferential treatment, and I've said before, and I'm repeating it again, this case, based on the evidence in the public domain, is so straightforward that, I mean, people questioning Mr. Hughes for taking the case, but I am saying this: if the police were competent and did what they were required to do in an investigation like this, you could bring Matlock. Matlock is a big-time liar in them movies. You could bring Perry Mason. You could bring all of them. Angela Lansbury, murder she wrote, but she's an investigator. All of those forces you could bring, and at the end of the day, it would have been guilty. All because it's a straightforward matter. The problem, however, is that the police have shown, based on Chief Moran's action, and perhaps other action, based on the fact that the suspect in this matter, the minister, is alleged to have tried to rearrange the house, the locus, means that people communicated. They're trying to mess up the matter so that on some technicality or something like that, the minister will walk free. That's the aim. That is the aim. So the first aim now is to delay. That's what my crystal ball saying, Lado, that the first aim is to delay and delay and delay, and then later on, with sufficient pressure, you can file a charge, and then maybe next thing on here, some other charge than rape you might try to find. Some other charge. Come on here and listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. Next you know, some other minor charge is filed because they're going to say, well, we don't have that. We have no evidence of penetration. Because remember, this incident is alleged to have occurred since December the 23rd, 2022. Some things like DNA and things like rape kit and all those type of things not going to be available. So you're not going to get the type of direct evidence. So it's a question of the young lady's credibility and other circumstantial evidence. And don't put it beyond the DPP to say that because there was no rape kit and there was no other direct evidence that she don't believe that the person should be charged. Watch, that's what my crystal ball saying. Lado, me I know Obi man. Lado saying that we look like a Obi man, but I'm saying it as I see it. As I'm saying it, I'm saying, so don't be surprised later on that here, oh look, we don't have any DNA, we didn't get semen, we didn't get all them type of evidence to bring a charge of rape. So they fight so much maybe indecent assault or some crap like that you're gonna hear. Listen out. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. The dancing started very early. And the dancing will continue. But at some stage, the music will stop. And once the music will stop, the rhythm of the dancers might continue for a fleeting moment, but then we have to face reality. And I say again, before I bring in my colleague to comment on this, please, the evidence in the public domain, based on the statement alone, I'm saying there's prima facie evidence to institute a charge of rape against the minister. And let me bring in Mr. Conway now to pick up from the CP.
Paul, I like the term you use, that I was exposed to over 50 years ago. We are all on the East Coast together. Perhaps you must have learned from Ulrich Landon. What I learned from 7464 by Butch Smith, I think he came up as a superintendent, and he was a detective, I think corporal at Myconi. And there was a murder, and he called me. I was in the uniform section. He said, "Come, they come check some negative statements to me." I said, "Man, I'm here in the process." The people said, "I know." So why you must take negative statement? I was a young police young and inexperienced police. He said, "Boy, take the statements, that they can't come back and change your mind and say, so that you have the negative statement to take them to produce with them." And I don't know now police doing negative statements, because negative statements are important. You tie them down with a negative statement, they can't come and change. You can't the story because you already have it there. So thanks for really reminding me about the negative statements. I think that is forgotten part of the investigation. And came back to when we talk about SOPs, we talk about domestic violence room. and we talk about why was the female available, why a female didn't take the statement from the victim, and I hearing they're using a word, you know, loosely. They talk about forensic report. What is a forensic report? I did forensic science, and my simple definition for forensic science, forensic science is an application of scientific principles in criminal investigation. That's the definition I had. And what kind of forensic application did they use to come up with the report? What they do? And who are the persons who do the forensic report? Are they forensic scientists? I did forensic report, but I wouldn't consider myself as an expert in forensic science. But it's the application of scientific principles. What are the scientific principles they use to come up with that report? Huh? So much of nonsense happening. And I want to go a bit broader, Paul, that according to the Act, Section 87.1, the government, this government, and also the APNU, AFC government, they are at fault, and they have let us down. Because according to Section 87, they talk about National Task Force for the Prevention of Sexual Offences. Perhaps if this was in place, that might not happen. And it was 87 said, there shall be established an interagency task force to be known as the National Task Force for the Prevention of Sexual Offences, which shall have the duty to develop and implement a national plan for the prevention of sexual offences. And here was to say, the President shall appoint the members of the task force, who shall include Minister of Legal Affairs, Home Affairs, Human Service, Social Security, Marine Affairs, Education, Health, Local Government, Youth, Sports, and Culture, senior public officers with responsibility for law enforcement, health and human and social service, and persons from non-governmental organizations. And they're saying this task force must reach once a month, and once every 3 months. And they're saying also the task force shall carry out the following activities, either directly or by one or more of the constituencies, one ministry as appropriate. And they mentioned from 8 to 4. I wouldn't go into that. So there should have been a task force. Is there a task force? And who is the chairman of that task force? When last we had any meeting? Did they put the policies in place? All those things, you love the law, you just enact the law, and nothing is being done. And nothing being done to enforce the law. Maybe, or perhaps, if those things were in place, or there was something in place, certain people would still take the chance, and do what they gotta do. But the task force is important, and it's important that, the National Task Force, and they reach monthly, once every 3 weeks, every 3 months, and also they ensure that they prevent these kind of offenses from taking place.
Well said, well said. Yeah, and as I said, the police, I don't think the police nowadays know about negative statement, but negative statement in a matter like this and in any investigation is a critical tool to be used by the police. So let them check up what a negative statement is. As we explained, it simply means you go there, you do your investigation. Let's assume you're talking to the secretary. She said, well, look, I don't know, or I can't remember. Let you write it down that you don't know, put in things, sign to it, that I don't know, I can't remember all of these things. So later on, they can't come and suddenly remember that and bring you as a witness to the defense to say that remember this and all of that. So yeah, negative statements are critical in investigations, are critical. Now, let me move on and let me start off by saying this. I am no conspiracy theorist. I don't believe in conspiracies and so on. When I deal with things, I like to deal with straightforward and factual, as you would have come to see on this program. You would have seen facts, and therefore I always challenge them. All the cockroaches and the amphibians, I challenge them to dispute anything that I say. Come and tell me what I say is wrong. Don't come and make somebody make a comment, too old crook. And that is never going to change. That is never going to change the focus. Deal with the issue and the facts. And let me say this, I am no conspiracy theorist, but I'm saying here that the welfare of this victim should be paramount. I am worried about what I'm hearing, where she's staying, and the type of treatment she's under. I'm worried for her mental and physical well-being. And I want to remind us, I will go through, I want to remind us that the other, I spoke about it last week, where an 18-year-old female from Buxton was raped. According to the story, she had to go to a school party. Listen to this carefully. She's 18 years old. She's 18 years old. And I was under our control of her parents. She had to get permission to go to this party. And the parents called a taxi driver that they use frequently to take her to this party and to bring her back at a particular time. She was taken to the party, and then she came back long after she was expected home. And when questioned by the mother, she said that the driver took her to some lonely spot and raped her. They made a report to the police at Covanjan, and a lot of dancing took place. And a lot of unprofessional conduct took place. So much so that the rape victim was interviewed in the presence of the suspect, where they questioned her about what took place in the most detailed manner. They want to know what took place. Even revealed some boyfriend that she had. And the sister or somebody said, well, the mother had warned her to stay away from the boyfriend, and that upset the girl even more. All of that was revealed in the presence of the suspect in this matter. What happened? The one went home, the young girl, 18 years old, went home, and she killed herself after being interviewed by the police. After being interviewed or more or less interrogated by the police, she went home, she committed suicide. I know what now? The rapist, of course, walks free because there's nobody to give the evidence. The rapist walks free. So that's what I'm saying, that the physical and mental well-being of this victim is of critical importance. I hope that whoever given she things to eat and drink, those things are vetted properly. Again, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but y'all remember my name, what your name? Hold on, let me tell y'all. What I guess, I'll just tell y'all, I'll just do me research, I'll just do me research. I don't come here and just talk. Mark Thomas. Y'all remember Mark Thomas called Kizerki? Mark Thomas called Kizerki was a man who was implicated in this phantom killing thing. The phantom gang that they said that was led by the Minister of Home Affairs then, Ronald Gadraj. Kizerki was charged with the Bacchus murder. And Kizerki went into the hospital. He went into the hospital, and Kizerki died mysteriously. I pulled up the article last night, and I've been reading it. Mystery of how Kizerki died endures. Mystery, that is what I said. Mystery of how Kizerki dies endures. Right? And then don't forget, I alluded to it earlier, you got the Bacchuses. Bumbule Bacchus. For people who know, you can't assume that everyone here knows what we're talking about. The other Bacchus, who was said to be part of this phantom gang, and he decided that he was going to skreel on the Minister Gadraj. He decided he can't take it anymore because what happened? His brother Shafiq was shot and killed in Princess Street, I think it was. And the story was that they said they believed it was a mistaken identity, that they really wanted to catch George Bacchus, called Bombole. It's either wanted, but they mistakenly killed his brother. At which stage he decided he's going to spill the beans. He went and he complained. He went public that the minister in charge of this killing squad, and he was one of the informants providing the minister with information. said he went to the minister's office several times at the minister's home and described the home and all of that. And Bumbly was in his bed one night and he was shot and killed. The man who was eventually charged with the murder said that he was paid $200,000 by the wife of a businessman who operated a business on Virginia Road to rob out Bumbly because her husband, along with others, were charged, and Bumbly was a main witness. So $200,000, and the man was dead. Now people are offering $10 million for drop case. People are offering $10 million. That is what is alleged. People are offering $10 million to drop a case. So you don't let me read and spell for you. So I'm saying that this young lady got to be taken care of very, very carefully, because God forbids they do anything to her. God forbids she walking on the road and some car knocks you down or anything like that. Because if that were to happen, and I'm putting everybody on notice, if that were to happen, then the minister walks free. God, they're going to tell you that there's no victim, the victim has died, so nobody to give the evidence. So all of this delay, we have to be very, very concerned about the delay. We have to be very concerned about the delay. We have to be very concerned about the safety of this young victim. So I tell you our George Bacchus, Kizorki, got to be very careful. Very, very careful. CC, do you remember? Do you remember the George Bacchus story where they kill you?
Yeah, I follow it very clearly, very carefully. I follow it. I have an abiding interest in law enforcement a long time now, so I know about it. And this case where they have this girl in protective custody, for us to escape, maybe the force of this magnitude, and they gotta be careful because for me, she like a prisoner there, and she in mental torture. And as you rightly mentioned, you gotta know what she eats and her movements. And I think we get the kind of that position where she will be properly, her security is properly taken care of. And if she goes, the case goes with her. And as you were talking, I remember I just want to put in another part about this rape issue, the elements of the rape. You might be raped, a woman might decide hey, she's gonna give you some sex, and you having the sex and she says stop. I want to know about stop, and you proceed a stroke further, it is rape. If you say stop, you gotta stop. So all those elements are there in statement. So the protective custody is, I think, something kind of new with those people, and they gotta be careful, or they gotta be more concerned that they have proper security for what she eats, what she drinks, where you take her, where she's living, and this kind of thing. You might hear an accident, and then let me don't say anything. Let me pray to God that she'll be safe and she'll be able to give her evidence in court.
Well, not only give the evidence, because how they're dancing now, that might not be necessary. Because we are dancing, the dancers, I've said next to you, they're going to tell you no charge is going to be filed. And Sean, yes, that is the man, Sean. Sean speaks about a man here who say he want milk in the tea. He was one of the persons charged with murder. He want milk in the tea. All of we know the man. You know the man, we know the man, all of we know the man. So it is important that the welfare, the physical and mental state of this young lady is taken care of. It is very, very important. And everybody should stay woke, stay alert, all this delay. Again, I say, people are charged. I have the experience. One statement from a lying accused, one statement, and you're charged sexual assault. You touch your foot 3 times. One statement. And here you have a case where you have a detailed and compelling statement, and the DPP is telling us in the release that they need to see all the statements in the matter before they can give legal advice. Nonsense. That is nonsense. Or as Nyland Welch would say, nonsenseness. That is nonsenseness. On the basis of that statement alone, you can instruct for charge to be instituted and that the investigation can continue to get evidence. So what are you waiting for? As Mr. Conway said, waiting for video to show the actual sex act, the actual act of buggery, the actual act of oral sex. That is what you're waiting for. That is what you will believe is compelling evidence to institute a charge. Let's wait and see. Let's stay woke and let's wait and see. And you know, as I did my research, a man said, a man said, you got a chap, Francis Bailey, I think is his name. He put up something on social media and he said, let me show you all the file. He said, look what he said the PVP is for. He said, you'll be talking about perverts, predators, and pedophiles. Perverts, predators, and pedophiles. That is what he says that they are now. That is what he says. And let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. Don't tell me that others were not, at least did not believe that something they go on with this man. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Look at this picture. Look at this picture. This is a picture that appears to be, well, not appears, I think Pierce said it was taken during the Caribbean Premier League cricket. You see the face of the three young ladies are blacked out. There is it, the minister is flanked by a bevy of beauties. The man, and look who then in the back row, immediately behind the minister. The man in the grey shirt, if you all don't know, his name is Arafat Kwalanda. He operates Queensway Security and he does business on Regent Street. Very close associate of the PDP. The man in the middle with the shades is Bharat Jagdeo. The man to Bharat Jagdeo's left is the President Irfan Ali. The man to Irfan Ali's left is Guyana former Captain Leon Johnson. And the man to Leon Johnson's left is the cricketer Jacobs, Stephen Jacobs. You want to tell me that they all, first of all, this is not the green stand or the blue stand or the grass mount that they're in. They're in what appears to be one of the executive stands at the CPL cricket. Clearly, the president and them are going to sit down in no green stand, blue stand, or Nemong, even though the president will visit the stands from time to time. It's not to remain there for any length of period. You want to tell me that given they say, none of them people sitting in the back row there and ask or not suspect that Daranal acting inappropriately with these young ladies? How did they reach there? Who invited them to CPL cricket? Let me put it up back. Who invited them to the CPL match? And if I were to investigate, I would try to find out all of these people, who about all of these persons, all of them, to find out if they knew. Because again, I say, as a man, attacking as a man, and the men may be able to relate to this, even women. When you see a man at a function like this, with them girls and so on, there's always a suspicion of something going on. You might even go so far for ask the Bible going on and see with something there. I mean, I don't want to sound to disparage the women, but as man gaff, as Donald Trump will say, locker room gaff, I see with something there, buddy, what going on? That is the story. You want to tell me none of them and suspect that this man having inappropriate relationship with younger women? You want to tell me they ain't suspect? You want to tell me if they know, let me give them the benefit of the doubt, they know, but you want to tell me the suspicions would not have been aroused that, hey, this man get some little girls with either and want to find out what really going on. What really going on? I know some men go even go so far as say, hey, I want one. And you are telling me that with all of that, they don't know. And the man got a record. I have some notes here. According to, you remember the New York-based woman made allegations that he go in the hotel room and the thing was circulating there. So I tried to solicit her for sex. It is alleged that he went so far as to take out a picture of his erect mushroom, his erect penis, to send to the girl. Let's circulating, at least a penis is circulating on social media. We can't say it's you, but they allege that that is what he was doing when he was on government business. The mother of that young lady wrote a long statement calling him out. It is there circulating somewhere. So the woman made the allegation, and you know what what the president said? The president said, let me repeat, you know me like quote them, because they get me, they run me up the code step, you know, like came into court. So I said the president said that the Dharamlal told him that his phone was lost. So in other words, all these things were saying is not his phone, is somebody take the phone and somebody was doing that. Of course, Dharamlal did also deny the allegations. I didn't expect him to admit. He denied the allegations. So you had that. Then we talk about deafening silence from government officials and persons aligned to government, saying that the allegation is untrue. Some of them saying the allegation is untrue. I was pleased to see recently the former Auditor General, Gulsaran, and the former Speaker of the House, Mr. Ramkaran, came out and made some statements. Let me read excerpts of what I say. And this is contained in the Starbrook News of June 26th. So those of you who can have access to it, we can read the whole thing. Gulsaran and Ramkaran call on Ali to act in Dharamlal imbroglio. They're calling him to act in this Dharamlal case. And they say President Irfan Ali should immediately fire Minister of Local Government Nigel Dharamlal, and simultaneously the Integrity Commission should launch an investigation into the breaches of code of conduct by the minister. Former Attorney General Arnold Gulsaran said. He went on to say, another excerpt, the nature of the allegations and political consideration demand an immediate response. I agree, an immediate response. And then he goes on to say, Gulsaran is a Sunday Starbrook Accountability Watch column, reference the 2014 decision of the then Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, to dispense with the services of 12 of our ministers for relatively minor offenses during our 4-year tenure in office. 12 ministers in Trinidad were dispensed of for what Gulsaran describes as minor offenses during the 4-year tenure of Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar. And then he says, President Ali, he said, need to take a leaf from our book. I think President Ali should take the whole book, not only a leaf from the book. He should take the whole book. Let me go on to another excerpt. He says here too, according to Gulsaran, there must be no compromise on integrity, no allowance for arrogance, no room for violation of mutual respect, and no sacrifice of values on the altar of political expediency. That's what he said. I agree fully. He goes on to say, he asks, given the seriousness of the allegations, how does the minister expect to face his staff or the staff of his ministry, as well as individuals and organizations with whom he is required to interface in the performance of his duties? How will he be able to sit in the National Assembly, the highest forum of the land, as an elected representative of the people and follow MPs? That is what he's saying. He goes on to say, he asked the question, what contribution can the minister now make to the public good and the public interest? He says, in other jurisdictions, the minister would have been shown the door pronto. In Guyana, however, party politics and party loyalty tends to take precedent over good governance, the rule of law, morality, ethics, justice, and fair play. Whichever party is in power, the tendency has been to circle the wagons. As senior officials from one political divide said, the party interest comes first. Then you go on here and done. Gulsaran pointed out, the President Gulsaran pointed out, has been severely criticized for not taking a formal stand in one of the most serious matters affecting his administration. As soon as the allegations surfaced, he should have acted by suspending the minister from performing his duties, both as minister and as MP, rather than waiting on the minister to request leave. The minister requests leave. Then he goes on, additionally, Gulsaran highlighted that this was not the first time that the minister was embroiled in conduct unbecoming of his status as a public official. Some of the allegations against him were detailed in a letter to the editor by Dr. Jerry Jailal, published last Wednesday. Jailal said that he recalled that a motion was submitted to the National Assembly by MP Cathy Hughes in February 2022 to suspend the minister for his remark, the Delo remark. It's like, is a Delo you want. That is what you're looking for, directed at an opposition MP. He went on to lament that it took 8 months. Listen to this carefully. He went on to lament that it took 8 months for Hughes to be informed that the speaker had disallowed the motion after she had followed up with a letter to the speaker. And then here, the speaker said, well, he disallowed the motion because the minister had apologized. And here, what they call an apology. The minister said, if I had said anything that was misconstrued, it was not my intention to make those statements to that effect. And if there were statements that were also unparliamentary on my part during the course of the interrogations, then I would like to withdraw them as well. Imagine, and the speaker took that as an apology. The man said, if the man never admitted that he was wrong, he said if he was wrong, then if he was wrong, he didn't intend to do that, and that is what was accepted as an apology. So that's what Mr. Goldstein is saying. And then the former speaker make it plain. In larger countries with developed standards, much less serious accusation results in resignation. An allegation of rape would certainly have resulted in resignation, the former speaker pointed out. The former speaker pointed out, he said that Ramkran pointed out early treatment of the matter was reminiscent of the agreement of former High Commissioner Charandas Prasad to be relocated from his post in India after using unacceptable language to an Indian citizen. That is what, so at last, I've just said better late than never, that these two prominent gentlemen came out and said that the matter is not being properly treated. They came out and they said that. But yes, still we have a man having to request, as the former speaker said, when Charla cussed out the woman in the most vile language until she wanted that for F-ship. 1 year later, Guyanese law of it, the thing was being covered down. 1 year later, when the thing bust out, then the president said that Charandas requested of him to come back. And we know from the record months after he was still there. So now again, Dharamlal accused of rape, and Dharamlal made a request to the president to proceed on administrative leave, which doesn't even apply to the minister. So having said that, perhaps he's waiting for the man who sits in the chair to request to proceed into retirement, because it looked like he is a man only waiting on request before he acts. He's waiting on request before he acts. So you had that. Then, the Minister of Education, Priya Manikchan, she admonishing people on social media. She said that politicizing the issue and all of that. She admonishing people on social media. But in all the admonition and thing, she never once mentioned the name of the minister. She never once mentioned the name of the person who's accused of all this. See, take a little button, man. Take a little button. This thing is so disturbing. It is so disturbing. As I've said, it is good to know that persons have finally come out, and I would look to see more. All these people that call, what they call them, guardians of democracy, and all these people. I can talk, they suddenly discover that there's something called presumption of innocence and the rule of law, which we will deal with in a short while. But go ahead, Sisi.
I like the word you use, if. You may recall, I think you were in the same year that Home Affairs. Every month we used to go to Home Affairs and part of the citizen security program and stuff. And I think Ramnarai made some statement talking about the political interference, the monthly check-in to Home Affairs. And the minister was claiming he was highly annoyed. And every green caller Ramnarai to apologize. I think he was assistant commissioner. And Ramnarai stand up and kick. And then Enrique said that is not an apology. You gotta drop the what if, because if there's doubt, you're not admitting, and you can't say if. You gotta come straight, and When did in fact change? But the president has not shown any kind of leadership, that Rich and that agree to come home. Parents should order him, come home. You never grow yet. What if he had the day? They say you coming home. The president should from the outset say you come home. And Lal should not have requested to go administratively. By him, he is a political appointee. He operates on the whims and fancies of the president, on the pledge of the president. So therefore, you have to show leadership. Look, come off. Come off, come off. You have to show leadership. Come off. And there should be, And let me talk a bit about law enforcement, Paul. Because law enforcement has, there must be a wall that separates law enforcement from political decision. A wall that separates law enforcement from political decision. I think I can remember reading a book that you loaned me, Peril, which talk about the things that happened at Washington there, where the Attorney General, I think, I can't remember his name told the president that there must be a wall that separates law enforcement from political decision. Said he didn't think the president understood, but told him that. And that wall must be sacrosanct. Nobody must be able to push on that wall, to break through that wall, or even breaks on the wall. If it breaks on the wall, you're not like a shot. That law enforcement, the wall must be sacrosanct between law enforcement and political decisions. But here, it is the opposite. It is the political decisions that run in law enforcement. And it is more pronounced in this current presidency with the Darabali. I hope that they will, take the necessary action and don't allow political decisions to influence their decision-making process. Apparently, that is happening. The DPC is allowing political decisions to enforce, to influence the way she's going to treat or the way she's going to treat this matter. And I hope to pick it up this week and the file will return. And I hope that the female will have her days in court. I'm talking about statements, in our case, you may recall, Paul, we were charged. I can't talk too much about charging. But up to now, as I sit here, as I speak, 2 years have passed and they cannot make disclosure. They cannot produce a single statement. Perhaps in our case, the DPP didn't look for statements. So then send back the file for further statements. Hey, clear up A, B, or C, or clear up X, Y, or Z without any statements here before the court. And 2 years have passed and not a disclosure, not a statement. But perhaps they can't give a statement, they can't give what they man gets.
Yeah, well said. Now let me give some other instances of show a pattern with them. Remember, we spoke about the dildo incident a while ago where Dharamlal in Parliament, and this is not allegations. This is video show that he said, told to the minister, the former member of Parliament, said like you need a dildo, right? Nothing had happened to you, nothing. Sherrod Duncan, another member of Parliament from the opposition, protested the statement made by Dharamlal. And Sherrod Duncan was punished and suspended for 4 sittings of the House. So nothing happened to Dharamlal, who made the statement telling a female MP that she wanted a dildo. Nothing happened to him. But an opposition member of Parliament, Sherrod Duncan, who protested the statement made by Dharamlal, was suspended for 4 sittings. I tell you all that's coming with facts, are coming with facts. Now, don't forget too, that in September 2009, a recording that alleged to be that, recording of a voice alleged to be that of Kwame McCoy, who was at the time the press secretary to President Jack Dio. The thing service in which he was soliciting checks for favors from a 14-year-old schoolboy, Julius. Remember the Julius story? Julius. It was argued that he was guilty of pedophilia, or at the very least, child grooming. At the time, he was press officer to Mr. Jagdio. And what happened? He denied that it was his voice. And following that scandal, following an allegation that this press secretary to the president was soliciting sex from a 14-year-old, the man, the said president, appointed to the Rights of Child Commission. He was appointed to the Rights of Child Commission. So you see what's going on? You see what's going on? And then in 2021, the same Kwame McCoy was accused of assaulting a female member of parliament, Tabitha Sarabu Ali. He denied the allegation, and they said the US government, they pull the visa. So like that they believe they want to do their own investigation and pull the visa and so on. Then in 2014, I talked about it last week. I can repeat these things to refresh people's mind. The minister that has the same ministry, Ganga Prasad, was accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a teenager. The things that he had sex with a minor. That is what is alleged, that he had sex with a minor. He threatened legal action, he jump up, I got sue, but he never sued. And then he too said that he was going to resign for health reason or for personal reasons. And then when Roy got braced up at one of the press conferences, because at the time Roy was the general secretary of the PPP, he had to admit that the President Ramatar asked him to resign. So if the President Ali don't know how the thing is go, perhaps he can use President Ramatar as a reference, because Ramatar had asked Ganga Prasad to resign over sexual allegations, right? So, but I said that even though he resigned, he was actually resigned by the president, he remained a member of parliament and a member of the PPP and its central executive committee. That is what the thing say. And more than that, let me go on. In November 2014, I get a statement here. I'll tell you when I talk, I get me things, so when I can jump, I got it here for one thing. November 2014, another voice, a recording said to be the voice of the now Attorney General Anil Nandalal was circulated around the place, in which he was said to be asking somebody for set up some sexual favor for your uncle or somebody like that, right? Those things were circulating, and what happened? All these people are in big position. You think they change? You think the tiger does use his stripes? You think that they change? So all of those things are there. But in that one, they say the only person from the PPP who made a statement about it, they said was Priya Manichan, was the only party member to condemn the utterances as crude and disrespectful. Those are the utterances from the Anil Nandalal. She condemned it as being crude and disrespectful. And hear this one. In 2019, Basil Williams was accused of sexual, verbal, physical abuse of staff. They say he used to verbally abuse, not rape or anything like that, verbally abuse the staff and so on. I went to Parliament and make a lot of noise. You know who the man, what they pushing for Basil Williams to be dealt with? Make a guess. Nigel Dharamlal was the man pushing for Basil Williams to be dealt with because of these allegations that he created a hostile work environment. So, and then don't forget you had Berry, you know. You remember Slap and Strip? Berry, Ramsaran, Charlene Nagir, the activist, he called she a piece of shit and tell she how he can get the people to slap and strip shit. Again, in due credit to the Ramatar, then he was asked to resign. Berry had to resign. But you know, the resignation thing, enough time is just a sham. Enough time what happened is that they asked them to resign and then give a nice little walk some way, right? So they think, but and this is, you won't believe who wrote this article back. What is the date? May I get the date here? Back then, the article was written by Neil Marks. And the headline, Guy Minister sacked for threatening to slap and strip female activist Charlene Nagir. This happened in April 20th. You ain't getting here. She confronted the minister outside the tribunal where he was leading supporters of the former president, Bharat Jagdeo, accused of making racist statement. And here we tell you, he said, shut your mouth and get out of my face, you idiot. Get the hell out of my face. Fuck off, you little piece of shit. Then he go on to then he said the media, Nagir also insulted him, and you walk off. Then I would slap her ass, just for fun. I can have some of my women strip her. That is Barry Ramsaran. Who is Barry Ramsaran now? Barry Ramsaran is some advisor in the Ministry of Health. So you see what is going on. You see what is going on. And so, as I said, all of these conducts are encouraged. The boys can do whatever they want to do. And the surprising thing, well, it should be surprising. It might be disappointing, but not surprising. All of these women in the PPP, the members of parliament and all of them silent. One person, can't remember her name now, she was a minister, she was also a minister, said, suddenly they discovered there's something called the presumption of innocence and the rule of law. They suddenly discovered the concepts of the presumption of innocence and the rule of law. But before we deal with the presumption of innocence and the rule of law, let me ask if Mr. Curry wants to comment on any one of those cases that I mentioned just now. CC, you want to say anything about any one of those, the strip and all of those things, Corey McCoy, Barry Ramsaran, Nandalal, all of them?
I knew of those cases, but I want to talk about British case, There was a judge, and he drove to a night at the area they call the red lights. That's where the prostitute, the strumpets, to use a local term that Pharaoh was famous to use, and the Wabbins would fly their trade. And he stopped at 2 locations, just spent some time. He didn't call the car, and he didn't talk to anybody. And it was reported to superiors. And the next thing you know is that he resigned. They didn't ask him to resign, they just brought it to his attention and said, everybody, I'm going to resign. And I'm sure if he didn't resign, they would have fired him. So when you're in public office, your conduct must be of the highest order. And then when you're wrong, say you're wrong and move on. Be like Bob Marley. Say, I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. Move on, man, move on. You're wrong, you're wrong.
Wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong. We will continue to share. We get a little bit more time. We're winding down. But I got some other issues I want to discuss. The same thing I alluded to earlier. The presumption of innocence. All of a sudden, people remember that there's this concept called the presumption of innocence. So basically, they say, Dharam Lal should be presumed innocent until proven guilty. I agree. That is the concept. But I want to remind them that in recent times, that presumption is being selectively applied. And let me tell you all why I say that. The presumption of innocence and the rule of law. The presumption of innocence says that a person is innocent until proven guilty. The rule of law says that all citizens are equal under the eyes of the law. With regards to what I've just said, the presumption of innocence don't apply in Guyana. The rule of law don't apply. If the rule of law had applied, the armed law would have been charged already. And let me tell you about the presumption of innocence. Some of you may recall I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission. Conway was a member. When I wanted to get rid of the Police Service Commission because we were not going to carry out political directions from the president, they come up with this trumped-up charge. Mark Phillips wrote us for us to show cause why we should not be removed from the Service Commission, and they used that charge against me and Conway, and later on another issue to remove us from the Police Service Commission. We challenged it before the High Court. And on March the 24th this year, Justice Gino Prasad ruled that the president acted unlawful. His act was unlawful when he suspended the police service commission, the chairman and members. And he said something very interesting about the presumption of innocence. Hear what he said. Justice Gino Prasad stated, one of the on the issue of criminal charge, lest we forget, in this republic, there is an enshrined principle backed by constitutional muster to which every citizen of this country is afforded. That is the right to the presumption of innocence as set out in Article 144(2) of the Constitution. Mr. Slur has not been convicted of any charges. At the time when he was suspended, he was entitled to the presumption. It was entitled to that presumption. The mere institution of criminal charges cannot amount to misbehavior proper, except and until the person has been adjudged guilty by a competent tribunal. Therefore, to act in the reliance of charges cannot be the basis to justify the president's unconstitutional conduct. End of quote. That is what Justice Gino Prasad said. So they didn't know when they moved to suspend the Police Service Commission on the 16th of June 2021 that there was a presumption of innocence that the chairman and the other members should benefit from. They don't remember that. So all of a sudden now, they remember the presumption of innocence. They didn't remember the presumption of innocence on the 5th of July 2022 when Lance Corporal Christophe de Nobrega, Sergeant Damian McLennan, and Lance Corporal Thurston Simon were summarily dismissed from the force. Those persons were alleged to be involved in the Quindon Bacchus killing. And on the same day that they appeared in court on the 5th of July 2022, the man who sits in the chair dismissed them. So they did not benefit from the presumption of innocence. So, and then you go on. Let me tell you all, only a couple, sometime last week or before the last, Constable Shaquille Smith, Constable Tariq McCalman, and Constable Donovan Walker, they weren't allowed to benefit from this presumption of innocence. So what happened? They were summarily dismissed. An officer misplaced, they say, his firearm. An officer misplaced his firearm. And these three constables, I know the extent of their involvement. I don't know the extent, but these three constables were summarily dismissed. Now, the presumption of innocence and the rule of law would have directed, would have stated that even if they were alleged to have committed an offense, you got to charge, you got to face some competent tribunal. Some competent tribunal. But no, the state dismissed them all because they are charged. So they are not presumed innocent. They are guilty. So they are charged. So when you come and you all suddenly know that Dharamlal is entitled to the presumption of innocence, I want to just cast your mind back to not so long ago, because the matter with Damian McCalmont and these guys were last year. Those matters were last year, 2022, July 5th. The ones with these last three constables that I mentioned was just less than 2 weeks ago. They get dismissed. So all of a sudden, I hear Roshan Khan and all them talking that Dharamlal should benefit from the presumption of innocence. The presumption of innocence. Yes, I agree, but it cannot be selectively applied. All of us should benefit from the presumption of innocence until we are proven guilty by a competent court. And I'm saying again that given the evidence that's out there in the public, and I'm sure that the DPP has more than what we know. I am sure. Because I'm sure not only the statement from the young lady she has, I'm sure she has other statements. I'm saying that based on the statement alone, the young lady's statement alone was so detailed and comprehensive that a charge of rape should be instituted against Nigel Dharamlal. And the rule of law states that he has the right as every other citizen. So it's not a minister you're dealing with. You're dealing with a citizen. And the rule of law stipulates that no one is above the law. And therefore, he should go and he should have his day in court. Therefore, you sit down there and fiddle and come up, oh, you want more statement. You have to wait on all the statements before direction is given and all of that. And I said this here, I say this. I hope that the people who are responsible are bringing this to the attention, bringing what is going on to the attention of the wider international community and CARICOM. By now, they should have written. You can't assume that people know. I would have expected the people representing this girl's interest should have written to all the people. CARICOM Secretariat, Mia Motley, who has a good relationship with the president, and all the CARICOM leaders. They should go further afield. All the ABC countries, these alphabet countries, European Union, all of those persons, they should write and let them know what is taking place. Bring the global spotlight on Guyana, not only because of the oil, bring the global spotlight to show how the animal farm is very evident in Guyana. All of us are equal, but some are more equal than others. They should bring that to the forefront. Let everybody see. Let everyone see. And it's that type of scrutiny, I believe, is the type of scrutiny will make sure that they also do the right thing. Because unless that happens, I am saying that the fact that this file gone back and the dancing, they are looking not for reasons to or for evidence to charge the Amlal. They're looking for reasons to not to charge the Amlal. Let me repeat that. The file, the reason that this file, or the mere fact that this file has gone back, they are looking now not for additional evidence to charge, because as I've said before, there's already enough evidence there. They are looking now for reasons not to charge Darmlad. So I caution you people to stay woke. I caution you to stay woke. Watch the ride. Watch what is going on. A lot of dancing. But as we say, you dance and you dance and you dance, the music will stop. The music will stop. If the police don't come and close down the music, at least time gonna run out, and you will have to stop and let us know what is the position. CC, you're closing.
Yeah, let me put it another way, Paul. Law enforcement has a rigorous standard, and that is, the standard is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And looking at the damn state from the face of it, I feel that there is no evidence there to put for a paper committal and to put Naram before the court, because he has also the right to be heard. And the right to be heard is a God-given right. It started in Genesis. It started when Adam and Eve alleged that they had committed themselves. And that all the Lord knew what took place, he didn't pass judgment on them right away. He called them and asked them what play out. Gave them the right to be heard. And I think you were in classroom when we had a study with the late and great Peter Britton. And he had a lecture on us, the right to be heard. So I'm saying is that the right to be heard is a God-given right, and it must be given to everybody. And as long as you have proof beyond a reasonable doubt, you need to put that person before a competent authority and allow him to defend himself, to be heard. Whether he gets off or not, that is not our business. The thing is that we must ensure that the evidence is there and put them before the court and let them take it from there. And no one must deny us the right to be heard. There mustn't be no preferential treatment. What's good for Tom must be good for Harry, must be good for Dick, as the case may be. That the right to be heard, and also the proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And in closing, let me urge the movers and shakers of the Guyana Police Force, for the benefit of the nation, ensure that our policemen, ensure that we have career development and critical look at succession planning. You can, according to the Public Service Commission rule to be a civilian by the 1st of August this year. And we must ensure that proper succession planning must be put in place right down the line, not only for commissioner, but right down the line so that there can be orderliness and also make sure that we have the right person. We don't want a politician as a commissioner of police. We don't want a politician as a commissioner of police. We must separate law enforcement from political decisions. And let me repeat, there must not be no political interference. The law is the law. And might sound monotonous again. I'm saying, look at career development for the rank and file of all police officers, inspectors, subordinate officers, constable, succession planning, job rotation, job enlargement, job enrichment. Make sure that those things are in place. Get rid of the political control. Keep the politics out of the Ghana police force. Let there be professionalism, true professionalism. I hope and I pray that these things will happen. It might be difficult. It might not happen overnight. But put the systems in place for career development, for succession. I'm not boasting, but when I was training, those things were in place. And as mentioned earlier, the last senior officer course that they had in the Ghana Police Force over 10 years ago, I conducted it. Hicken was on it. Many persons there reached the rank of deputy commissioner. Maxine Graham, Alves and a whole set of them reached deputy commissioner. Even we had the director of the city constabulary was in it. The head of the city constabulary, he became the head of the city constabulary, and we had others there. So I'm saying, look at career development. Look at career development. Give them the opportunity so that they can properly serve the Ghana Police Force and stay away from political decisions.
Well said, my brother. Thank you much. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day and future days and so on. Thank you very much. We'll catch up. Now, in mentioning all of these people who did all kind of things and no charge, I remember I got a note here, the Region 9 REO, Carl Singh, he shot a woman in her stomach. One of the friends, family and favorite, a Amerindian woman too, he shot her. And nothing had come out of the matter. Nothing. The police eventually said it was by accident. Accident? You're in a car with a woman and she's shot and it's accident? How can that be an accident? If it was an accident, then the gun should have been taken away from him. He should never be made to use a firearm again. God, he showed that he's incapable. That is what he showed. He was incapable of safely handling a firearm. So, folks, we are going to make sure that these matters are kept in the public domain. We are going to make sure that we continue to share our knowledge and experience. So, for example, today, as Mr. Conway said, one of the main things that I think a lot of the police would have taken away is this negative statement story, buddy. Negative statements are critical in any investigation, especially an investigation like the one against Darmlal. Because you take the statement so to prevent them from coming, we say it again, because money passing, money passing, and people are going to be bought out. So you got to make sure you tie them down very, very early. Tie them down early. And that is the only way, because as I said again, if this investigation is conducted properly and the investigators do not deliberately try to derail the investigation, there's no way this man can work. He could get all the best lawyers he wants, because facts are facts. Facts are stubborn things. And when you read that statement from that young lady, when you read that compelling statement, one can have no doubt that at least a charge should be brought. Not the guilty, even though I believe, given what is written there, he goose cooked. When they get a chance, go before a jury of his peers who should decide whether he is guilty or not. That is what he has to do. Not the DPP and the police messing up this thing at this stage. That is not what is required. That is not. So I would hope that, you know, the Prophet Muhammad or somebody will speak to them. The good Lord, if you're a Christian or whoever you worship, will guide you to make sure that you do the correct thing. Because at the end of the day, as believers, if you believe, then you'll have to answer for what you did. And as I've said before, karma is a bitch. Some of you get children, you have relatives, and it might not fall on you now, but your children or somebody will likely to suffer. So let's watch, let's keep our eyes open to see what will happen. You know, I like to tell you, tomorrow is a holiday. Tomorrow is a holiday. Hope you're safe and be careful. And then Monday too is another public holiday in respect of CARICOM Day, the first Monday in July, CARICOM Day. Saturday coming, I always remember July the 1st is the anniversary of the Guyana Police Force. No, the police force was formed in, I think, 1839, July 4th. So you have all of those things coming up. And again, I say, President Ali, I am saying that you should let the public know what is the position with the Office of Commissioner of Police. You should let the public know. It's in the interest of the public. It should not be any secret. That should not be any secret. There's a public office, a very important public office. And if the man who sits in the office is due to retire from the 1st of August, long now. You remember, the man get paid in lieu of leave, you know. According to the public service rules, he get paid in lieu of leave. You get paid in lieu of leave. So, let me hear. And you know, I almost forget this, you know. CCI, I almost forget this. In terms of Chief Baran, in terms of the officer who misplaced his firearm, they don't have a police service commission, so they cannot be suspended officially or interdicted. Well, they can only be interdicted their charge, but as it is now, they cannot be suspended, but they can be sent on leave, vacation leave, all the leave that they had. When they wanted to get rid of Paul Williams, they discovered he had 200 and something days leave, and he was sent on all his leave. And I would urge that in the case of Chief Baran and the next man, I remember Ben, they should send them on leave. Send them on all their vacation leave. Just calculate it. I sure enough for them get enough leave. Go on your leave. And hopefully by the time the leave is finished, a decision the Service Commission will be there. Because since August the 24th last year, the Chief Justice ruled that the Police Service Commission is not properly and fully constituted in the absence of the chairman of the Public Service Commission. And up to now, there ain't no move on that. Up to now, there is no move. Judicial Service Commission in January, the Attorney General said that they're going to appoint a Judicial Service Commission within 3 months. June almost done. Half a year almost finished, and you don't have anything there. And remember that the chairman of the Public Service Commission, is also a member of the Judicial Service Commission. So if they rush to appoint a Judicial Service Commission now without appointing the chairman of the Public Service Commission, it's the same boat you're in as in the case of the Police Service Commission. Same thing. So again, I say stay woke. I am telling you these things so that you can understand the machinations and the shenanigans that are taking place. That is why I am telling you these things, so that you could understand and you could read through the lines when you see certain things, right? So don't, you know, that the propaganda machine is a powerful machine. You have a lot of people, propaganda, social media, other outlets pushing you with a lot of crap and a lot of BS. I say that when we come, I speak in the truth to power. And I challenge them again to contradict anything that I say on this program. Anything that me and CC say, y'all come out and say that that is not so. That is not so. That is a lie. We bringing it to you. I can't tell you, I'm going to say, we chucking it rude. We bringing it to you as unvarnished. The unvarnished truth. This is not spin. This is what it is we are going to bring to you. Keep your ears on the ground. Keep your eyes open with the Darren Lal case. Keep your eyes open. Again, I say my concern is the fact that the file is sent back is not for them to get additional evidence to charge. It's for them to get additional evidence not to charge. So stay woke, people. Stay woke. And stay safe. The next program will be next Wednesday. As you know, we started late. Again, I say started late today because we had code this morning. And the matter didn't, well, nothing happened because the judge had to be engaged in another matter. I think she was sentencing someone and couldn't meet the 11:30 schedule. And I am looking forward to whenever. They're going to send a note to say whenever this court matter again. So we're gonna dance around. But next week, give as it is now, it's likely to be the same, back to 11 o'clock. If anything comes up, then I'm going to let you know what it is. Look, again, go and subscribe to the channel. Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Go and subscribe to the channel so that when we have this change of timings and we schedule, you will know when it is scheduled. I see a notice. Hold on, let me see if there's anything relevant to what I'm talking, you know. Somebody sent me a note here. We're going to deal with that next week. We're going to deal with that next week because, you know, as I've said, when these things are sent, I want to verify and make sure that we are accurate. I just verify and make sure, do all my research and make sure that we are accurate. That is what we are going to do. So stay safe until we meet next week for another episode of this, what we call, again, I say, let me compliment the students again for being in class today. Record numbers again. Record numbers. Last week, we broke all records, and it looked like this week, we are going to challenge last week's numbers. Numbers galore, class full, overflowing. We're going to continue to bring the thing to you. Stay safe until we meet next week for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Stay safe and bye.